Hey guys, Bill Ladd, Duckett Ladd Dental CPAs, joined by my business partner, Jared Ladd, and super excited today to have good buddy David Roux with Accelerated Dental Assisting Academy. And he does some really cool stuff. And we want to spend a little time kind of unpacking with him what he does and, just kind of tell you a little bit about it. We really got to know him through a mastermind group and saw that he was doing some really good things with some mutual clients, and he had a great system, in the pre-COVID-19 environment. And I think it's something that can really be beneficial on the other side of this as well. So David, welcome.
And I am happy to be here. When you asked me to do this, getting to hang out with Bill Ladd again is always a privilege. So
now let me tell you something. This guy's accent is the best in the business. I have to mention that too. You guys are this guy needs to read like some kind of bedtime story or something, because this guy's got just the coolest accent ever.
Well, you need to write a book, man, so you can record the Audible for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Jared. That's even better. To make it awkward when I go your accent, don't I?
I love it. Good old Southern boy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Louisiana guy. So tell us about what you do, David. I think it's interesting, and I think it's something that people may have heard about, a service similar to this, but maybe they don't really know exactly how it works. So kind of walk us through what you do.
Yeah, this is I would love to. Really, the neat thing about our company is that it literally was established from a problem. And so there's this huge issue. The owner of our company is a dentist. He has 3 dental practices, and a very visionary entrepreneur guy, wonderful, named Dr. Jared Benkaz. And he was growing his office very rapidly. With the time, I believe he had 10 or 12 dental assistants. And for anybody that's a dentist, you know that when you have that many employees, the turnover, it felt like all the time he was having to hire someone. And so the problem was staffing, just like almost in every industry. And so what he did was he actually went and purchased a dental assisting program, and he got his office manager to begin running the program. And so, and out of that 10-week program that he bought from this individual, when he put it together, it was about a part-time deal. So the school was pretty mediocre, but it was serving his needs. And so he was able to recruit from this 10-week program. So they were paying him tuition. He got to train them with all the pet peeves and get them basically onboarded. And then he would be able to select the cream of the crop to fill the position. And so he did that for about 4 years, and it completely changed the dental staff. And so he started hiring front office workers from it, because we know that 99% of this is who is going to have the best work ethic. You're hiring off personality and those type of character traits. And so when he was finding those people in the 10-week interview per se, he was able to rebuild his whole culture of his office. And so in 2015, he came to me and said, man, I think that we could actually go, does every dentist need something like this? And so when I came in, my job was to build out this turnkey model that would allow dentists to have a dental assisting school in their office without having to do anything. And so we built this model. So basically our business is we partner with dentists to rent their office to hold dental assisting schools in their practice. Our team covers all operations and all costs associated with the school. And we've built a model there to where when we go into a dental practice, we can completely run the operation, and the dentist essentially just has all the benefits of a dental assisting school, and we pay him rent to do it. And so we've built this model to basically become this internal recruiting and hiring service for that individual dentist, and he doesn't have to do anything. It's hands off.
And that's outstanding. So David, think about this. There has to have been a little bit of a visionary hat on there with your owner, because, to take it and first of all, do it in his own practice is a really big leap of faith, but then to see that there's a need that he could fill, probably, I'm assuming initially probably in Louisiana, kind of in your immediate area, and then, to kind of take it to where you guys have. Walk us through your evolution as a company from that one school to kind of where you are now, and what kind of markets you're serving.
Yeah, so it started just like anything else. We started calling his buddies that he graduated dental school with and said, hey man, we have this idea. Would you would you mind if I paid you and use your office to run a school? And they were trying to ask questions. I know it's just that. Well, so we started with all his buddies from dental school, and a lot of them were in Louisiana. So we currently have 9 schools in Louisiana. And then from there, what we did is we started going to just the states next to us, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and just finding the areas through some research on what the best areas, where the need is. And then we started selecting some of the top tier offices. And this evolved once we realized that other states in the country have the same issue that we did in Louisiana. We said, I wonder if this is larger than us. And so we started partnering with some of the major dental consultants, Dr. Meese and Wendy Briggs, Freedom Founders, where I met you, and some of these masterminds. And as we met dentists around the country and even outside the country, it was the same story. And so our model now is really just to let just as many dentists know as possible. If there's a need, then we may have a solution for it. And so really the doctors that we're working with now, it's less of a demographic that we select from. It's really the doctor we work with. It's a mindset. They have a great culture and they can see the big picture. They are wanting to build their office, to protect their office, and to find a recruiting and hiring system that is fluent and that they can plan for the future. So right now we're in large groups.
I could just kind of picture, those college buddies that he was calling, and he's saying, hey, I'm going to come in and pay you money. I'd kind of be scratching my head like, all right, what's the catch here? So kind of walk through like logistically. So say I'm the dentist and you're going to come into my practice and basically pay me as the doctor to rent out, my space here. And walk me through from there. So how does it work? Where do you get the assistants from to come in, and logistically, how's that work?
Yeah, so actually right before this call, I was actually talking to a doctor in Virginia. He had called me last week, and so it's fresh on my mind. The process is very simple. We call it the meeting of the minds. What we do is we decide, hey, is this a win-win deal? Is this something that you would like? And obviously the answer is always typically yes. I would like to have a school in the office. And so from there, the next step is recruiting instructors. And so there's 2 models. The original model is we actually utilize the dental office's staff. So if you have a couple assistants that would like to teach, we have regional managers that run the operations of the school and that also train the doctor's staff to be an instructor. So we have built our own curriculum. We had purchased one from the very beginning, but we've built it and streamlined it. And our curriculum is basically, it was designed for a dental assistant to teach it, not an educator. Yeah. And so we built it where they're really facilitating the curriculum more than anything. For example, there's a PowerPoint presentation. It has video footage, and then it says, take this time to assemble a wren, and they would demonstrate it, and then everybody would do it in the classroom. And so it's designed for the dental office staff. Now, the great thing about this is that we, for those that want to teach, so say he has a rock star dental assistant that he also wants to pay more. Well, we would hire that dental assistant onto our staff as an instructor, and our average pay per day for the instructor is $300 per day for the dental assistant to teach. So it averages out to a little over $37 an hour. So we did that because the class is held on the weekends. And so something we kind of bypassed. It's a 10-week program held inside the doctor's office on non-operational hours. So it's when the office is just sitting there not being used. So typically it's 10 Saturdays in a row. And so to get an assistant to come in and do that, we like to pay them very well. And so from there, we would say, yes, we want to do it at the meeting of the mind, a 10-minute conversation. Next would be, we would have my regional manager would do a Zoom meeting like this for the staff, and we would recruit instructors. We'd say, this is what the responsibilities are to be an instructor. Here's the compensation. Who would like to participate? And 9 times out of 10, everybody's raising their hand. And so what we found is that no one wants to do, we have 3 courses a year. One instructor doesn't want to teach 30 Saturdays. So the ideal office has 2 or 3 instructors to divide this throughout the year. And that's where there's a long-term relationship. From there, my team will get the information that's required, just all the paperwork. We have to go to the state and get licensed and approved to operate. We gather paperwork from the doctor, paperwork from the instructor, and then they stop. So their only requirements to get this launched is to we give them a checklist and they hand us the paperwork we need. And then we go and complete the application and work with the state to get it licensed. Depending on what state, that may take from 3 months to 6 months to 8 months. It just depends on the state. It takes us about 2 weeks to turn it in, and I don't know what they do once it goes to the state.
It sits there.
It sits there. And so once it's approved, the next step would be we would launch the school to where our team, we do all the marketing, all the recruiting. And so we're actually enrolling students. We have all the in-house financing for the students. We have career coaches, career advisors. And so I have a group of 16 people at our headquarters that completely take over all operations. So in the meantime, the office doesn't even really know what's going on. Once it's licensed, we begin to market and recruit. And then our regional managers begin to train the actual staff that would like to be instructors. We have streamlined this process. It's what we focused on mainly in the last 4 years, because we want this to be something that the instructors get excited about, because many of them have never taught before. It's kind of that fear of the unknown. So we've built so many training videos. It doesn't take a lot of time, and we spend a lot of effort getting that process very streamlined to where the instructors within just a few months are excited about going in and teaching in just minimal hours. You've typically training over 2 months takes about 5 hours. And so, and they're good to go from there. And then we like to host courses in February, June, and September. So really the only responsibility from the office is the doctor giving the thumbs up and signing the agreement, the staff giving us paperwork so that we can go get it licensed and approved, and then instructing the actual class. And so everything else my team takes on. So when we've done the actual time, it's about a 95 to 5% on workload.
Wow. So not much involvement or responsibility for the doctor, the owning doctor of the practice at all, really.
To be honest, the owner of the company, Dr. Ben Kaz, has never been to a class. And so you don't have to go. And so the only thing you would do is sign the agreement and then give us some responsible people, team members, to run the operation.
So when you look at it, I mean, it's a really simple thing for an owner to look into and do. Let's talk about what's the other side of it look like. Let's say that you're able to get a nice recruiting class, or you get recruit a nice class in, and you get them through the school. They have the ability to hire some of those people. Is that kind of one of the end benefits that a doctor could be looking at?
Yeah, Bill, basically all I just spoke about was just kind of getting things set up in the operation, because I just love that. That's just kind of, it's fun to build something. But the reality is that the vision, we would not exist if it wasn't for the vision of connecting doctors with dental assistants. I mean, that's the whole goal. If there's a celebration in our office, it's not when we enroll a student. That's just what we do. The celebration is when we connect a doctor with a student, and I wish you could see what happens in this office. And so our vision, and I've told you, Bill, 1,000 times, is to connect 4,500 graduates to dentists in 1 year. That's what we want to do. And so, so yes, that is why we actually built this. And so, for instance, in our own office, when we have a course, 2 or 3 are hired before they ever get out the class. Okay, and so the perk of this is for the hosting doctor to be able to select the cream of the crop, the ones that would fit their culture. They can hand select them. But then the neat thing about this is that we started building, and you've actually helped me with this, Bill, as we've talked many times, is building what we call the doctor's network around us. And so this naturally happens. When we go into an area, we'll just use Denham Springs, Louisiana, because it's our hometown. We have over 55 doctors that call us and say, hey, could you send me someone? And so we have a process where we evaluate the students. It's on a score. We can send them over a link, and they have basically the ability to stalk this graduate right there. And the graduates want us to do it. So we play matchmaker at a very, very high level. And so we're actually building our company towards that. Essentially, we're a dental assisting school, but the reality is that we want to play the matchmaking game. And so if we don't have that side, then we don't believe we're worth anything.
I think that's a great way to kind of pivot into another part of the conversation, David, which is, we are in a different environment than we were in February, and March kind of led us into a whole new world, which we're all kind of dealing with. And I know you you are talking to your doctors who are working with you, and so are we. And there's just a lot of uncertainty, but in our conversations, we've learned that what, partnering with you has really kind of allowed some people some opportunities to maybe weather these storms a little bit better. And so kind of walk us through, what does this look like? What does a post-COVID-19 look like in your business, and then also with the doctors that you're working with, and the pool that you've kind of created? I mean, just walk us through kind of how that's looking now compared to what it was before.
Yeah, so all of this is just theory until you come into times like this. You
Sure.
say like, hey, we want to serve dentists. We want to provide them this ongoing pool of candidates. And that sounds so great. And some may believe it and some may not. But now that we are experiencing what this, whenever, just for instance, I had a conversation with a doctor in Hattiesburg this 2 weeks ago and said, hey, look, just want to let you know, we want to still host a class. And I said, okay. He said, but let's talk through the protocols. And I was interested in why he was so anxious. And he said, well, look, I had several dental assistants, and when we asked them to come back, 2 of them aren't coming. And so as I realized, I said, I wonder if this is just him. Well, then when we opened back up at our this week, we asked several, and several dental assistants were coming back in other positions. But I don't know if it's because of the government funding that's going on right now, or if it's because they're scared, or the child care. But the reality is not just in our industry, but in all industries, it's not coming back to a perfect world. And there's backlog of work, and there's not enough people. And so, for instance, I can speak for us because I'm very close to that. We didn't have to panic. And people panic when 1 employee puts in their 2 weeks notice. What about if 5 say, I'm not coming back right now, and you haven't made money in 2 months? And so with this situation, so the neat thing is I've got to watch in this past week, our office, we were able to call people. We have over 250 graduates, more than that, but over 250 graduates that have went through the program that we have personal relationships with. And we have some that actually were in a course that we weren't able to finish. So we had 15 students that we are currently speaking to right now who are hungry for jobs. And so we had a pool of candidates right now. We didn't have to panic, and we hired some of those. And so I guess the reality is on the staffing end, that's where there's pressure, because you not only need a warm body, but you want someone to fit your culture. When there's a time, when there's an actual, hey, you don't have time, you have to get somebody in because you have to see patients. Well, then you have to bypass that long and extensive recruiting and hiring process. And so this really it came to life. That story that we're telling, that we believe in, the doctors that we're working with, they're able to experience that. Did that all make sense, Bill?
Yeah.
Well, what you said there was big. I think dentist ears just kind of perked up when you said, I've got 15 people, or 15, they're halfway through the course, hungry for a job right now. I mean, that's what people want. That's what dentists want right now.
I mean, realistically, what we're looking at, David, and you'll agree with this, just what you're saying is we're heading towards a reset, a potential to reset. And, there's going to be people, like Jared said, who decide they don't want to come back. And we'll throw all the paycheck protection program and stuff, that's a whole different conversation. Realistically, depending on what happens with the dental profession, I mean, there's going to be some attrition. Some people are not going to feel safe coming back, or they're going to decide it's not what they want, and they're going to be looking for people. And in your situation, the ability to kind of take a doctor you've worked with and say, hey, I understand you're having this problem. Here's a list of 4 or 5 people that we know would be a good fit because they've been through the program. At the time, you maybe didn't have the capacity, but they really would fit your culture. That's a really huge value add to bring to somebody who, like you said, scrambling, trying to find people to fill the chairs, or to have the chair side support. So to me, that feels like a nice residual value even after the school's over.
Bill, here's something else that I didn't realize that this was even a part of our relationship and our partnership with the doctors, but it's been really nice because, we're also in the place going, hey, we have 45 schools, and each state there's different protocol. Like, how are we going to come back? And it's been neat to be able to speak to doctors and say, hey, what are y'all doing? and they're going, I don't know, what are you doing? And so just having that open relationship on, hey, what does it look like? What are the new policies when you get back in the office? And so we've been able to I guess, essentially mastermind with so many different offices and help other practices just with that little, it didn't start out to be a network, but it has created that to where there's just a network of people that trust one another. And so it's been neat to see as this goes along, the new protocol that's coming forward with social distancing and those different factors that we're able to brainstorm that with one another.
Yeah. And so kind of feeding into that question, Dave, that's probably a question you're going to get from dentists who maybe aren't familiar with the program, but they're going through what the ADA and CDC and all these people are going to require them. And so it's going to be a whole new world. And they're probably asking you're going to be coming in. We really don't know your system or your process. What are you telling dentists to help them understand what you guys are doing, or what are you guys doing to try to address this new world that these dentists are going to be coming into as far as safety and security for their patients and their team, bringing in you guys, kind of on those off days?
Yeah, so we actually just met as a leadership team yesterday to begin this process. There's not enough information out to allow us to make those hard decisions, but we have built for worst case scenario all the way up to, hey, you can just have the course, best case scenario. We have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. But but the plan B is probably what's more than likely going to happen, which is say they want to allow us just through the educational system to have more than 10 or more people at one time. And so what we've done is we've created a plan. And this is why I like the school system. It's because we're so customizable. With one meeting, we have a system that we could break the class in half, and we could either work on Saturdays and Sundays. We could work in the afternoons. And so we're able to continue to have the program to bring the same benefit and still meet all regulations after hours. And so we don't have anything in stone yet, but I think what I've got from this is we're able to customize what we do within a week's notice, especially since we are digital, and we're able to have that environment there. So really half of the program is going to be lecture, and then the other half is clinical hands-on. So because we're able to break that up, we can work with the doctors on those hours. But the protocol, it's still kind of pending, but we're going to be able to customize towards it.
Well, you're prepared for it, that's for sure, with an ABC plan. I mean, you've got all bases covered, you can tell. One thing too, so speak real quick, and maybe this is my curiosity as well, speak to, so the viewers, I guess, is this for general dentistry only? And then also, like, what locations, geographic locations do you go into? Kind of speak to the dentist if this would be something that would be interested, they'd be interested in.
Yes, it is. It's not exclusively for general dentistry, but our curriculum is designed for general dentistry. So we've partnered with, other practices, specialties, but it's hard because of the equipment. And so it's typically for general dentistry. Yes, it is. Now in the States, we're in 12. Man, that's a good question. We're in 12 or 13 states, but we have 17 actual locations that we are currently getting licensed for, which is in 4 other states. And so I tell you what, I can get with you, because trying to list all those states, I'm going to get caught up in which ones we have and where we're at. But right now we are currently moving into Kansas, California, and we have schools in Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. We're moving into Florida, Missouri. And so, but I can give you a list if anyone's interested on where we're currently at, and then our future plans for where we're moving.
You guys are expanding quickly, you can tell.
Yes, it's and so our plan right now in the next 12 months is to really serve the people that we're working with. And then what happened in the past year, as we started meeting with, guys like you and in these networking groups, it really moved very rapidly. And so we have several schools in this pipeline, and kind of bogged us down. And so right now we're going, hey, look, let's serve the people that we have really, really well. and then plan for the future as we go. So we're really trying to expand in the states we're in. So if you have anybody that would be interested, I can send you a list of the current states and the states that we're working into, which will be a total of 16, and some of those areas in there that we're trying to isolate. But we have several people in other states that we're saying, hey, you're next in line. So.
Yeah.
But really, what you said earlier, which I think is interesting, is more important than anything is that core value fit. You want to find the doctors that have the right mindset. You may or may not be able to work in their state, and that's a conversation you can have with them. But tell us again, tell us what that doctor looks like, the one that you're really seeing the most benefit and value, that has the value match with you guys. What does that look like again?
So there's two sides of this. One is just the logistical side. Like, you have to have a minimum of 4 or 5 ops to really make this work. And you have to have one room that can easily hold 15 people. That's kind of the requirements, for parking and those type of things. You have to have a practice that's large enough to be able to hold a course. That's pretty minimal though. But really, the people we're working with, they care about people. They care about investing in their community. They're typically visionaries, and they are trying to build a company. They're not the one just looking for an extra couple $1,000s, but the perk is the passive income, okay, the rent that we pay. But the doctors that are there long-term are the ones that go, I want to invest into someone's life, and I want to build a company that we're prepared for all angles. If I have someone leave, I have someone that I already know that can fit our culture coming in. So it's that recruiting and hiring staff. They're typically, they think outside the box, and they are business minded. And so those type of people really appreciate what we're doing.
What we'd encourage you guys to do is if you're listening to this and that sounds like you and you're interested, David, how can they reach out to you? I think it makes sense to give them your contact info and certainly let them reach out to you and see if it's that right fit in that right area where you guys can maybe partner up. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, it's very simple. Though we seem to be kind of growing and have lots of opportunity, man, we're just good old Southern country folks. And so the reality is, I'm going to give you my cell phone number, and you can text me. And that's as simple as it is. And then, so my cell phone number is 225-933-4291, or you can email me, and it's also very simple. It's david@adaa.us. And so, Bill, I can get that to you if you want to connect with anybody.
You bet. Guys, we appreciate you jumping on here and listening. David, man, thank you as always. Always love talking to you, not just because you have an awesome accent, but because you're a great guy. You have a great business that has a purpose-driven focus, and I love that. Always love talking to you, my friend. Thank you for coming on here, and best of luck as we all try to survive through this COVID-19 mess that we put ourselves in.
Absolutely.
David, good seeing you, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Take care.